This magnificent painting of the Quarrel of Oberon and Titania is based on a scene from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Before going deeper into the story, let's set the stage. The scene is set in a forest outside of Athens. In the center are Oberon and Titania, the king and queen of the fairies. They are surrounded by a couple of hundred fairies, elves and goblins involved in all sorts of activities. Oberon and Titania are having an argument about the role of an Indian changeling boy who is hiding behind Titania. A changeling is a child that the fairies have stolen and replaced with a fake child. Oberon wants to use this child as his knight, but Titania refuses, as the child's real mother is a worshipper of Titania. The elves, fairies and goblins surrounding them seem unbothered by what is going on. It is worth spending some time admiring all the magnificent details. Let me unpack it a bit for you. In the foreground is a pond with water lilies, known to be an aphrodisiac, which connects with some of the romantic and erotic activities that can be found throughout the painting. On the right is a statue of the Greek god of the wild, Pan, playing his shepherd pipes. Below his left arm we can see a group of fairies dancing, and if we move a bit to the left, there is a group of fairies attacking an owl. And if we return to Titania, we can see her beautiful wings, with above them a group of fairies creating a crown of light for her. And have you noticed the funny and mischievous goblins? There are so many fascinating and funny little scenes when you look at this image that I won't discuss them all here, but let me know in the comments below what your favorite detail is. Around 1596, Shakespeare wrote his famous comedy A Midsummer Night's Dream, a timeless success that has been adapted in many ways and forms, as a play, musical, ballet, TV series and movies. The play is set in Athens and centers around the marriage between the Duke of Athens, Theseus, and the Queen of the Amazons, Hippolyta. But there are several fascinating and interconnected subplots, and one of them involves the king and queen of the fairies, Oberon and Titania. The scene in this painting is based on the first scene of the second act. Oberon is angry at Titania for not giving him the changeling boy. Here is a modern translation of the passage in which this is described. King Oberon is extremely angry. He's furious because she stole an adorable boy from an Indian king. She's never kidnapped such a darling human child before, and Oberon is jealous. He wants the child for himself, to accompany him on his wanderings through the wild forest. But the queen refuses to hand the boy over to Oberon. Instead, she puts flowers in the boy's hair and makes a fuss over him. So Oberon decides to punish Titania and asks Robin Goodfellow, a fairy with magical powers, to concoct a magical juice that will make her fall in love with the first living creature she will see after waking up. Oberon applies the juice to Titania's eyes while she is asleep, and after waking up, she falls madly in love with a man with the head of a donkey. Oberon has now achieved his goal, takes the changeling and orders the spell on Titania to be reversed, after which they reconcile, a scene that Paton captured in the painting he made 2 years before the painting about the quarrel. Joseph Noel Paton was 29 years old when he painted this work. He was a Scottish artist with a keen interest in folklores and legends, which he frequently used as inspiration for his art. A Midsummer Night's Dream was one of his favorite sources of inspiration, and he painted several other works on it, like this late work on Oberon and the Mermaid, and this one showing Robin Goodfellow and some goblins making music. But Paton created many more works inspired by contemporary literature and other legends and myths, partly inspired by the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, a popular art movement that originated in the UK a couple of years before he painted The Quarrel of Oberon and Titania. While Shakespeare's story takes place in Greece, Paton has not made an effort to recreate a Greek forest scene here. Instead, it is filled with flowers like bluebells, dandelions, foxgloves and honeysuckles, which his British audience would immediately recognize as native flowers. Paton painted it during a time when interest among British artists was shifting from history paintings to works about native myths and literature, and Shakespeare's works were the perfect subject for that. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below, and if you want to look at the details in this painting at your own leisure, I'll leave a link below to a high resolution image of this work. Thank you for listening.